Hello guys, it's Melissa and welcome to another video where today I am building in this huge penthouse in San Myshuno. It comes with a pool and a basketball court and everything. It is super fancy and huge. And I made the very foolish decision to record myself renovating it. So basically this is actually a house for my own gameplay. So I'm playing with a family and at the moment I'm on generation 5. We were living in, I consider myself to be part of the family. We were living in Sulani before, but I've now just got 2 Sims. So one of them is Caleb Vittori, obviously the most famous handsome emo vampire from the Vampires pack. And he married my sort of sim within this family called Celeste, and they are both vampires. They moved in with 2 dogs, but one of them has now passed away with old age, and they actually adopted a cat, so they have 2 pets. But basically Celeste has the aspiration to have, I can't remember what it's called, but it's to do with having a vampire family, and I think ultimately you have to have at least 5 children to complete this aspiration. So I planned for them to have lots of kids, and I needed to basically move them into a really, really big place with lots of bedrooms, which this has. This actually has 6 bedrooms, this apartment, by the time I'm finished with it. And yeah, like I say, it is so big. This is probably one of the most frustrating builds I've done because I, especially recently, have just sort of built things that are kind of on the smaller side, so the smaller apartments, tiny homes, things like that, especially as I recently started a new job and time is a lot more limited for me, whereas this build actually took me 6 hours in total, which is a lot more than it usually takes me, and it just took me forever to edit. There's tons of like screenshots. It was just a really big build, and I was getting like headaches while I was building it because I was just in front of the screen for so long. I think I built it over 2 or 3 days, I believe, and it's taken me quite a while to edit. But when like I said, it was about 6 hours. I sped it up to 800%, and it was a 45-minute long video, and no one wants to sit here and listen to me talk about my build for 45 minutes, myself included, so I wanted to basically cut it down as much as I possibly could. And I do cut out the footage of some of the builds, so I don't really show too much of the garden. And also, as I said, there are 6 bedrooms, so I don't show all the bedrooms, but I do show, there's basically a toddler room, a kid room with bunk beds, a master bedroom, and then 3 bedrooms for teenagers, and I've only included one of the teenagers' bedrooms in this speed build because it was my favorite one, so I can't wait to show you that one. It was very similar to one of the builds I did recently in terms of the custom content pack that I used, but yeah, the rest, I mean, like I said, there's only so many bedrooms you can show, but I didn't include them. But if you stick around till the end, I do have a lot of screenshots, as I said, because there's so many rooms in this apartment. So even the things that I haven't included, you can see the pictures of them at the end. And as you can see, I decided not to completely bulldoze this apartment starting from the beginning because that would be even more work. So essentially I just renovated it. So I kept the basketball court, I kept the kind of gym area. There's lots of things that I've kind of kept similar, but also quite a few things that I've changed because in typical EA style, I wasn't super happy with it. So, you know, there's a few kind of questionable decisions. There was some like really huge, unnecessarily huge bathrooms. So I've kind of fixed that around, moved things and, you know, just kind of changed also some of the exterior because I wanted to go with a bit of a black and white theme, especially considering that it is vampires that are living here. And so because of that, the kitchen is actually quite a small space. You can see it here. It's like a bar, dining table and kitchen all in one. Very sort of open plan. It was a bit difficult, and ideally I think in any other build I would have wanted to do a bit more of like a fancy bigger kitchen, but again, because they're vampires they can't eat human food, so I didn't bother about that too much. And I actually like playing with vampires. I've never done it before until now, and I do quite like it. They both have the power to go out in the sun without consequence, so that definitely makes things a lot easier, but also there's definitely limitations when it comes to vampires. So I'm hoping, my plan is basically that they will have 5 children and I will pick one of them to keep playing with, and the rest I'll kind of move out. So as I said, I've got like 3 bedrooms for teenagers, so they'll stay there. And then my plan is when they move to young adult, I'll move them all out apart from one, my favourite one, and then they'll kind of continue on the generations. That'll be generation 6, which is like the longest I've ever played with one family, so I can't quite believe that. I think the most I've ever played with is generation 3, I think, which is quite funny because I am like a real sort of family gameplay person. I really love just like the mundane, having a family, having them sort of get a partner, have children, reach the top of their career. And that's my favourite gameplay style, but I also do consider that to be quite a boring gameplay style, so I do kind of lose interest. And I think the number one reason why I tend to move on from families is kind of just having ideas, thinking like, oh, you know, I want to play with a sim in a tiny home who is an astronaut with like 3 kittens or something like that. And then once I get that idea in my head, I get kind of bored of the family that I'm playing with. But with this particular family, I really like them, and like I think I started them when I got Snow Escape. So for example, when Paranormal Pack came out, usually I would start like a new save file with a new family, but I just kind of introduced that into my family gameplay. I just really like this family, and I do want to get up to at least 10 generations, which is actually an achievement within the game, as I said, one that I have never completed. So I needed a nice big apartment to do that in. And this is the 4th build that this particular family, I mean not this generation, but like in these 5 generations, this is the 4th build that I have done for them. And it will definitely be the last because I just can't go through this anymore. So yeah, hopefully, well, I mean, I really love this apartment. I was very happy with how it turned out. So yes, they will be staying here for a very long time. Not just because they're vampires. Yeah, let's say I really do like it, but I think I was just getting really frustrated the longer it was taking, because I mean, as I said, I have been kind of sticking to smaller builds recently, especially because I actually got a job very recently. I was made redundant and I had about 3 months off where I basically did nothing but play The Sims, which was really fun. But now I've got a job, I've got a lot less free time, so having sort of smaller builds and smaller videos has been like really good for me. But this was just so long and it was making me like really anxious as I was going along. Like I was just kind of thinking, I just want to finish it. And so, as I said, I'm still happy with it and I still sort of took the time and care to build it. But I think sometimes like the longer it goes on, you're just like, oh, I won't bother like cluttering up this shelf because I can't be bothered because I've already spent like hours on this build. So that's kind of where I got to with this. But like I say, I was still very happy with the outcome. There's not really a room that I don't particularly like. So yeah, I think the only aspect of it that I'm not so keen on is just the kind of placement of the kitchen and the dining area. But at the same time, when I do have a sim that will cook and kind of use the kitchen, there is plenty of room for that. It's just that it's perhaps not as big as their previous place, but it's fine. I mean, you can see it there as well. There's like a huge dining table and a whole bar area as well, because it is a family of big drinkers historically. So yeah, that will be fun. So like I say, I do not include all of the rooms that I've included here, but they're relatively different. I wanted to change it up because I think it would just be so boring to do like, I don't know, 3 bedrooms that are all almost identical. So for example, with the teens rooms, one is like really modern with like red and black style, one is like blue and yellow with a kind of Japanese theme, and the other one is like really sort of sophisticated vintage glamour style, pink and blue. So yeah, I wanted to try and change it up as much as possible, just to kind of keep it interesting for me and for you as well to have a look at. So again, towards the end you can see that, but I forgot as well, this also has a home cinema. So this apartment literally has it all. Like I say, you've got the pool, you've got the basketball court, and you've got the home cinema and an indoor gym as well. And I am not exaggerating in the slightest when I say that if I lived here, I don't think I would ever actually leave the apartment ever, because I think everything you need is literally here, especially if you're a sim. You can just buy your groceries from the fridge, and it's all good. So yeah, this also you can see here next to the living room is a little kind of kids area, so that was really cute. I thought, because the toddlers and the kids room isn't the biggest, I just wanted a kind of separate area where they could kind of play, and I could put a few more different toys and things like that. So yeah, in terms of like personalities, there's no kind of distinct personality per se, but like I say, I did kind of experiment a little bit with colour themes and decorations and things like that. So they definitely would have their own kind of distinct personalities, but I haven't thought too much about kind of skill items and hobbies and things like that, because again, the children are not yet born. Celeste is actually pregnant. And she's in her 3rd trimester, so should be having kids soon. She has the fertility trait, and this actually has the lot trait of it's kind of like is it ley line, but the vampire version of it. So hopefully she will end up with twins or triplets. Will make my life a lot easier. But yeah, we'll wait to see that. And this is the green bathroom. It originally started out as a purple bathroom, which I thought was pretty crazy, but I thought, why not just go all out? And again, there was like, I can't remember how many bathrooms are in this penthouse, but there is quite a few. I would guess there's probably about 4 or 5 bathrooms, including en suite. So again, I just wanted to make all of them a bit different. So this is a bit more of a retro kind of green theme, whereas there's also a Mediterranean one. There's this kind of like modern black and white one as well. And I did actually start off with the bathrooms because, as I have kind of mentioned before, I do find them to be one of the most boring things to decorate. I do see some builders, the like really good ones, who are able to, you know, really experiment. And I think you can kind of come up with some cool like bathroom structures that are a little bit different. But for most people, and myself included, building a bathroom is just about basically throwing in a shower, sink, toilet, and like a bath, and then that's pretty much it. I did try to get creative though, to be honest. So as you saw downstairs, there was that little kind of separate area for the shower, which was actually kind of already in the build, so I decided to keep that. And then in this bathroom as well, which is actually my favorite one, so this is the more, I guess, kind of Mediterranean style, I have got that kind of little separate shower area with the window against it as well, so I thought that was kind of cool. And also just breaks up the room a little bit because it is a little bit of a bigger bathroom. But believe it or not, as I said, the bathrooms that were already in this penthouse were absolutely huge, so I had to make them smaller because that's kind of what EA builds are known for, is just being unnecessarily big with hardly anything in them. So that was the main thing that I wanted to change around. And like I say, I think doing it that way did save a lot of time because I wasn't completely starting from scratch. But also it made it very difficult as well because, for example, I had to go around and change all of the windows and doors, and I kept like forgetting them and seeing, you know, where I hadn't changed it and having to go back and re-edit things. So that was a bit of a process, but we did get there in the end. And this is what feels like bathroom 2000, and just again going for some different color themes. So as you can see, as with my last few videos as well, I have been using a lot of custom content. I downloaded a load recently, so I mentioned that in my last few videos, so I won't talk about it too much. But yeah, I think just using custom content really helps kind of keep the game feel a little bit more fresh, give you a few different ideas as well. And again, when you are dealing with a build as big as this one, I think just the more sort of furniture options you have, the better. So just kind of giving me some different ideas for clutter and decoration items and things like that. was really a godsend. And plants, of course, pretty much everyone's favourite decoration item. And I wanted to, with this particular build, when I do apartments, I don't usually upload them to the gallery because that can be a little bit of a pain. So sometimes I don't bother too much with functionality. It's a bit more about design. Whereas because this was actually a build for the family that I am playing with, I was kind of focused on just making sure we, for example, a lot of computers, had a lot of like mirrors and just everything that my Sims would need. So I did try to be a little bit more practical with this build, but still also, you know, a lot of great design because, as I said, I downloaded a lot of really cool custom content that really kind of fits the vibe that I went for in each sort of different room. I think they all have their kind of unique style and all work really well, like separately, with some really cool pieces in them. So there's, as I said, I plan to have 5 children, but I only have enough beds for 3 toddlers and 3 kids because I get very stressed raising kids in The Sims. I think if I had more than 3 toddlers or more than 3 children, I just physically don't think I could do it. I think that would be the push to like move away from this family. I think I would just find that way too stressful. So because they're vampires, they obviously live a very, very long time. So I will try and space out the children a little bit more, but yeah, I think 5 kids is not a number that I usually have. I usually stick to like 2 at absolute most. Certainly in this family that I'm playing with, I've never had more than 2 children. So yeah, that will be a little bit of a challenge. And actually, funny story, when I first downloaded the Discover University pack, I was playing with a family at the time, and I think, again, it was on about Generation 3, and they had 4 children, and I very, very foolishly thought to kind of experiment with the Discover University pack, I would send all 4 kids to university at the exact same time, bearing in mind I had absolutely no idea how university worked. I'd never used it before, so I did that, and then all 4 kids absolutely failed their classes. They were put on probation, threatened with expulsion, and I gave up. I couldn't do that anymore. So yeah, that kind of led to this family that I'm playing now, and I've learned a lot of lessons, so I try to keep it as sort of stress-free as possible, and I find that really funny considering, as I said, I do tend to just play that kind of boring gameplay of just raising families, doing mundane things. Packs like Laundry Day and Nifty Knitting, I think they were made for players like me who just like recreating the boring aspects of life. But that still can be stressful in The Sims. So yeah, I think having 5 Sims is going to be quite difficult, but I think, like I say, my plan to just have them kind of spaced out and then just move them up as soon as they turn into a young adult, apart from one Sim, like my chosen heir. I think that will definitely make the process a little bit easier. But here we are in the living room, and for this room, it is absolutely gorgeous because I used the living room custom content pack from Peacemaker and Hey Harry, I believe. This is an absolutely gorgeous set. It's so nice. I think I used it in my last build as well. The pieces are absolutely gorgeous and have that really nice kind of modern feel as well, so I knew I wanted to use them in the build, and it's got that very like I want to say rich feel, which works perfectly well with the kind of Sims who would own a penthouse apartment with a huge home cinema inside. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And then this is just the kids play area as well. I wanted to, again, like there's a few different kids activities. By far there is not enough, but there is quite a few that sometimes I don't really have room for as many as I want, so I thought it'd be nice to kind of include that separate one with a platform. And actually the platform didn't give me as much stress as they usually do, so that's good. And then yeah, I think this is the final room that I am showing, which, as I said earlier in this video, is actually my favourite room for the teenagers that I built. It's definitely got a kind of Japanese vibe with the custom content that I used. I absolutely love that little hanging art piece that you can see there, as well as obviously the cherry blossoms on the wall, the little teddy bears that are dotted around as well, and also the blue and yellow theme is one of my favourites. So I absolutely love this room and this build, and I hope that you did too. And if you did, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, because I have a lot of speed builds coming and they will definitely be shorter than this one for my own sanity. But yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye!